Hi, welcome to the Cauldron and the Ivy, and I'm Kelly. And today I am going to share with you what I didn't do the first few years of my practice. What that means is that what I didn't do in my craft and what I did instead. And what that means is that when I went into my craft and practicing my craft for 27 years, I went a little bit of a different beat of my own drum. So I will, the reason why I'm sharing this is there's a lot of witches who are either just coming in or who's been practicing for about 5-6 years, maybe even up to almost 10, who feel like they need to go along to a T or do exactly to a T, which in some ways that's okay, which I did certain things to a T, but I also did other things that was different than what most people were doing when I started in right at the crossroads between the early 90s to the mid 90s. So, for instance, my first incense stick or herb was not lavender, rose, or sage, or even jasmine. That seems to be the biggest thing at the time in the 90s. Mine was dragon's blood. That was my first incense, raisin, as well as incense stick. The first 5 or 6 years of my craft, I didn't purchase barely any crystals unless it was on a piece of jewelry. And even then, I only had like 1 or 2. That was pretty much it. I didn't have a lot of herbs, or barely any, till a year and a half ago when I bought 2 or 3 at a time, and now I have a decent cabinet of herbs to work with. So think about that. A year and a half ago, I started to grow my herbal cabinet. So that's a year and a half ago. So that's almost like 25 years into my craft, where I finally started to grow my herbal collection. At the time, I only had maybe 3 or 4, but I kind of went with that had more to the herb than just 1 or 2 things. Hence why I only had like 3 or 4 up until a year and a half ago, because I wanted to work with other herbs, see what brings what I like, what have you. My first crystal I bought wasn't the popular ones at the time in the late 90s, early 2000s, which was amethyst and quartz crystal, all that stuff. It was a piece of labradorite. You have to understand something. I started my path back in 95. So amethyst was big. Quartz crystal, citron, carnelian, even lapis was pretty popular. Labradorite really wasn't, and I'm gonna go with also black tourmaline. I got into black tourmaline, what was it, like 2003, 2004, something like that. Excuse me. So yeah. So it was labradorite and black tourmaline, where back then it wasn't as popular than the others. Starting my path when I was in New England, I didn't start with anything by Laurie Cabot or the Witch's Bible by Janet and Stuart Farrell. I'm probably pronouncing it a little bit wrong. Those were anything by Laurie Cabot, and the Witch's Bible was huge at that time. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for. There was one from Laurie Cabot back then. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it wasn't gonna resonate at the time when I first started. So, excuse me. So I started with How to Ride a Broomstick by Silver RavenWolf, Practical Candleburning Rituals by Raymond Buckland, and Celtic Magic by DJ Conway. Those were the first 3 books I bought. And then I bought, after that, Embracing the Moon by Yasmine Galenorn. And I think, Scott Cunningham's Earth Magic was another one that I bought. And the last one that I didn't do was I never bought, I can't say never, I hadn't bought a wand or an athame during my path as a witch till I finally found an athame about 2 years ago at a shop here in Connecticut. And I'm planning on making 2 wands for myself. How did I cast my circle? I used my finger, my hand, for 25 years. Out of the 27 years, I used my finger or my hand as an athame or a wand. Until 2 years ago when I found my athame. So, what I'm saying is that your basics could be just your finger and a couple candles and a couple herbs, or at least a couple herbs and maybe 1 or 2 oils, specialty oils that you want to use. And then the basic oil you can use is olive oil on the candle. And you roll it up with herbs for the correspondent for that color of that candle. And you have your spell. Also, before you put the oil on, you want to inscribe something. Symbol, the words, what you're trying to do, what you want to bring, what you send out to bring to you, and of course the oil and the herbs. So yeah, you don't need. I'm sharing this because about 25 years, anywhere from 6 years after starting my craft to about 25 years, I didn't have all the tools. I didn't have a wand. I didn't have an athame. I didn't get a lot of crystals at the time in the beginning because I listened to my own energies or what I need to do in order for me to get where I am today, if that makes sense. So, and the stuff that I have now that I accumulated is after practicing for 25, 27 years. So I'll end it like that. That part, where it's at. The next thing I would like to share with you is what books I am planning on rereading or re-referencing between November and February, probably up to about March for my path. Just some books just to reread, references. I have a couple that are semi-new that I kind of look through, and I would like to re-look at them and reference them and use some of them during part of the first half of the year. This one I've had for a while, and I've had great results with some of these. I know she's been having a bad rap lately for quite a while, and I just think it needs to finally stop. But it's Silver Spells for Prosperity by RavenWolf. I've used some of her stuff with good results, and I think it's time to look at this and go back to some of the spells that I used to do and get back at them and go from there. The other one is also Silver RavenWolf. I bought this the month that it came out, which was almost 2 years ago. Let's see. Where was this published? This book was published. It has this name. Here we go. Yeah, I got the first edition, first printing 2017. So yeah, pretty much came out early 2017. I've used a couple of her Boba blends. I've actually used it as a reference to make my Zodiac Boba blends. And there's a couple recipes I want to try out that I haven't tried out and remake some of them. And it's the Witching Hour, so Silver RavenWolf. This is another one I'll go back to, and there's a recipe or two that I need to remake. I haven't remade it, and a couple that I want to try out. So we're looking through this. It's a really good book on this. The next one is I've read this a couple times, and I want to reread this and prefaces, and that is Christopher Penczak, The Witch's Queen. This is a really good book. Pretty decent. Let me give you an idea. Give you an idea of the size. It's a pretty decent book. That's really good. So, yeah, if you don't have this, I know I do have Jason Miller's book about money and prosperity and abundance, which is really good. But if I have to pick between these two, and as much as I like Jason Miller stuff, I like Crystal Penczak's a little. Not better, just it's up my alley. Next one, which I already kind of brought up a little bit, I just would like to go through this and look at this, reread it, and help me get a little bit more creative, is Candleburning Rituals by Raymond Buckland. This was the first book on candle magic. I know there's some other ones as well. There's one or two that I want to check out. I want to purchase in the future just to kind of see, how they're different from this one. But this is a good nice little quick little reference for like beginners and stuff as well. So this one, yeah, the Raymond Buckland's Candleburning Rituals, that's the one I'm just gonna like go through, references a little bit, see what comes up. Speaking of candle magic, I just picked this one up. I've been eyeing on this for a long time. I finally got it a few months ago, looked through it, really liked it. This is like candle magic advance deal. And there's a lot in this book that I need to look into, read a little bit more, and try a few things out from this. So, I'm really looking forward to this one. Next one is I'm really excited about. I grabbed a few from the craft store of this particular book. I haven't got around to do any of it. This will be the start of this. I got really excited with this book because back in the 90s when we bought books on witchcraft, there was only 2 to 4 pages at the most. You'd be lucky you might get 5 or 6 about this particular object for magic. And this author did a book on this. This person went through the history of it, the lore, the magic, and everything. And this person has put into ideas. It's just great. This person did a great job with this, and I'm so going to reread this and use some of this person's. I'm saying a lot of so I apologize. Again, nervousness. Hopefully I'll get over it. And that is The Witch's Mirror by Mcmillan. I have some of her artwork, which I like. And yeah, this is one of the older artwork before they went to the simple art. I do know a craft store in the state that have the original artwork. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to this because I bought some mirrors in the craft stores. I want to start incorporating mirror magic into my workings. I am looking forward to that one. These next two I've had for a while. This one is a silver RavenWolf, and it's on an object that I used to use a lot of. The last couple of years I haven't used this particular object for a while. I brought it out a couple months ago, used it, and I went, yeah, I need to get back on it. I miss it. Using this particular object for my magic, and this book will, by looking through it a little bit, will help me get back into using it again. And I believe after that, I will be using it pretty much for the rest of my life. And I might be purchasing another one, but a little smaller. And that is To Stir a Magic Cauldron by RavenWolf. This is such a great book. I really, really enjoy. She has some great ideas on this. And yeah, I will be reading this, referencing it, might be using a couple of things on it in my Magick. So that's that one. Next one, I know Lou is a YouTuber called Lou Valcourt. She brought up this book and I got real excited because this book does not, I've never seen this. And I agree with Lou Cabot, the Walker Witch. She even said it. She's surprised nobody has brought up this book. And I believe she's the only one that has brought this up. I'm so excited. And it's called Embracing the Moon by Yasmine Galenorn. I have used years ago some of the spells in this book with really good success. And there is a oil blend that I've been wanting to try out for years. And I'm finally be able to find it, be able to mix this oil blend because I have about 88% of 88, almost 90% of the oils that I need. And there's a couple on there that I either don't have, but I can replace it. I can use a alternative. But there's one particular one I'm not a big fan of, and I'm planning on replacing it. I think there's only like 2 or 3 that I think I'm probably gonna replace because I don't have it, but I have pretty much all of it. And I'm also planning on adding a couple more on top of that to make the blend. So I'm pretty excited on that. These next 2, I'm pretty excited about. If you remember a little earlier where I said when it came to books, I did not, one of the authors was Laurie Cabot. I bought a book by her about a little over a year, and I've read it a couple times. And I'm going to reread it again, and I'm going to use some of her ideas as well. And that is Laurie Cabot's Book of Spells and Enchantments. I'm going to reference and use. And this next one is, he is on Instagram, he is a YouTuber. I remember he was also part of a Facebook group, and this person left, which I ended up getting kicked out a few months later. I found out about this book through this person because he was part of the author. This is a great book. He did say that this was it was going to be his last publishing of this book. But I think he's planning, if I remember correctly, he said he was planning on, or he's starting on writing a new one. So this, and it's called The Deviant Grimoire by Michael Blackthorne and Blight's Spirit. Michael Blackthorne has a YouTube channel. He does readings every now and then. He used to do it every couple of weeks. He kind of does it once a month. He took a hiatus for a while. So, yeah. So I end up snatching this. It's a chunker. This is a chunker. But it has some really, really good stuff. Like these, and you can tell. I don't have bookmarks, but I have this weird way of doing a fold as I look a bookmark. If you can see, I have some of them bookmarked by folding the corners that I'll be using in the near future. So yeah, this sucker has all total 714 pages on this book. 714 pages. And if you're looking for something different besides Llewellyn, also check out the couple Cauldron Publishing. A lot of Christopher Penczak's books are in this publishing, in case you're wondering. And that is it for today. So that's it. Good night, good morning, have a good day, and blessed